Well, for more on this story, we can bring in our international affairs editor, Philip Turle. Philip, more protests then this Monday, more casualties. What's the latest situation?
Well, I think, first of all, everybody watching what's going on in Iran should be feeling some kind of compassion for these protesters who are risking their lives in these most appalling conditions. Seeing these reports coming out of a morgue. I was talking to one of our experts on the French service today who's been in contact with people in Iran with a lot of difficulty. And they're saying now that the parents of those who've been killed, who go to the morgue to recuperate the bodies, are having to pay the authorities to take those bodies away. They're not just being given to the families. The second point is that the protesters who are killed or are being arrested are now being designated as terrorists. If you are designated a terrorist in Iran, then you can face the death penalty. And they're saying that those who've been caught by the authorities for protesting are being paid by the United States or by Israel. So for the moment, the casualty toll is believed to be about 544 dead. That's according to human rights organizations such as the Human Rights Activist News Agency, which is based in the United States. And there is another one also based in Norway. So there are three key factors, I think, which will influence the outcome of these protests that we can talk about. The first one is the strength of the domestic actors. That means the protesters themselves. Will they carry on protesting face-to-face with the ruthlessness of the regime and the crackdown? How long can they hold out? That's the first question. The second question is the cohesion of the security apparatus. That means the Iranian army has about 340,000 members. The Iranian Revolutionary Guards, they number about 125,000. There are reported to be cracks there where some members of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards are being called in to crack down on the protesters and are refusing to turn up to work. They can face very severe penalties for that. But it's difficult to work out how many people are actually turning their back on the security forces right now. If they do, and there are larger numbers, that would be very difficult for the regime. And the third question is, of course, the US involvement. How would all this be affected if and when Donald Trump decides to get involved in this conflict in Iran?
So do you think that we can expect a US attack on Iran, and what could be the possible circumstances?
Right. Well, that's a very difficult question to answer right now. Donald Trump has said that he's been in contact with the Iranians and that they want to come to the table to talk. He says Iran is keen to win freedom, maybe more than ever before. The United States is ready to help. He's also said that if need be, before those discussions with the Iranians take place, the United States could get involved in clamping down against the regime. Now, Donald Trump is due to give a briefing tomorrow, could be overnight tonight here in Europe, of the options for Iran. The first one is obviously military intervention, with bombing raids to try to hit the regime to knock it out. The second one is cyber attacks against Iranian infrastructure. We're talking here about some of the things we see in Ukraine, for example, like trying to knock out the electricity supplies, power stations, which would undermine the situation for the authorities in Iran. The next one is an end to the internet blackout. Now, Donald Trump says he's been in contact with Elon Musk to try to request that he intervenes by using SpaceX and also Starlink, which has been available in Iran by a digibox that you can get there, which the authorities don't want people to have. That is something that Donald Trump says could be used to try to bring the internet back up, and that would be much better for the protesters. Also under consideration are more sanctions, and the other option for Donald Trump is trying to boost anti-government organizations by giving them more money and a larger ability to talk to the crowds and the international community. So all of those are discussions that the United States is having. I think the problem for the US is two problems. The first one is that Iran has warned that it is capable of firing back at the United States if there is any kind of intervention. The parliamentary speaker, Mohammed Bagher Kalibaf, has issued this statement saying, in the event of an attack on Iran, both the occupied territory, meaning Israel, and all American military centers, bases, and ships in the region will be our legitimate targets. There are rumours that Iran could fire up to 100 ballistic missiles a day into Israeli territory. That's something that neither Israel nor the United States wants right now. There's also another fear, and that is that if the US is to intervene in Iran, it could, in fact, consolidate the Iranian regime, because the regime will try to then turn it against the Americans by saying we're under attack by Israel and the United States. We have to come together to fight them off. So there's no easy option for Donald Trump right now.
And many of the protesters have called for the return of Reza Pahlavi, the son of the former Shah of Iran, but not everyone supports him. Why is he such a divisive figure?
Well, he is a divisive figure. He's become a figurehead in all of this. He's 65 years old. He's the crown prince of Iran. He'd been out of the country since he was 18 years old in 1979. He founded the Iranian National Council back in 2013. He's now the spokesperson for that. And he's promised a lawful transition in Iran if he were to take power through democracy and democratic elections. The problem here is that experts say he's not a galvanizing figure. He lacks charisma. He's shown little inclination to talk to the opposition in Iran. He's more in contact with royalists, and that is something that many of the opposition say it doesn't go far enough. There are another couple of questions that are being raised also. He's seen as being too much in cahoots with Donald Trump. His slogan has been "Make Iran Great Again," based on the MAGA slogan in the US. He also took part in a conservative political action conference in the US last year next to Elon Musk, next to Steve Bannon, next to the Argentine President Javier Milei and Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. And he's also been seen as being too close to Israel. So all of those aspects together have made people pose a lot of questions about whether or not he is the right person to lead Iran. But he is a figurehead. And many people say, well, it was a lot better under the former monarchy than it is under the current regime. So maybe he could be the person to take us forward. But still, I think experts are saying that he doesn't have the full support of all the people in Iran.